We're all familiar with the concept of forests, lush, abundant expanses of pristine wilderness, teeming with life, a richness of biodiversity and awe-inspiring to behold. Trees and plants intertwined, filling every possible space, the very wellspring of life itself. Forests exist fine on their own. There's no mowing, weeding, spraying, or digging required. No pesticides, fertilizers, herbicides or nasty chemicals. No work and no people either. They somehow do very well, thank you. Now, imagine if everything in this lush, abundant, spectacular forest was edible. If you can imagine what this would look like, if you can picture this in your mind's eye, then you're not far from the mark of what a food forest is like in real life. By understanding how forests grow and sustain themselves without human intervention, we can learn from nature, copy the systems and patterns to model our own forests, ones filled with trees and plants that produce food we can eat. We can design and construct the most sustainable food production systems possible, perfected, refined and cared for by Mother Nature herself. Forests are home to approximately 50 to 90% of all the world's terrestrial, land-living, biodiversity, including the pollinators and wild relatives of many agricultural crops. Tropical forests alone are estimated to contain between 10 to 50 million species, over 50% of species on the planet. Rainforests cover 2% of the Earth's surface and 6% of its land mass, yet they are home to over half of the world's plant and animal species. From these basic facts, it should be evident that forests themselves are synonymous with life, biodiversity and fertility. Where life gathers, complex and mutually beneficial relationships are created between organisms, natural harmonious communities form, and life forms multiply and proliferate. If forests are where most of the life on the planet is, then anything less than a forest is most likely less suited to supporting life. Life supports life, yet we have forgotten that we are in fact part of the web of life itself, and depend on other life to sustain ours. We can design and build natural ecosystems full of life, that look after themselves, just like a forest, but which contain plants of our choosing. The design system of permaculture looks at natural systems and patterns, and emulates them to design food production systems and human settlements that integrate harmoniously with nature. We look at nature's system, and we copy them, so nature does our work for us, just like using earthworms to dig. That's the spirit of permaculture. No need for hard work. Nature grows in a highly optimized pattern, utilizing multiple layers and making the most of both horizontal and vertical space. A food forest typically is comprised of 7 layers, the uppermost layer being the canopy layer. The canopy layer is comprised of tall trees, typically large fruit and nut trees. Between the tall canopy layer trees, there is a layer of low-growing, typically dwarf fruit trees. Mind you, a dwarf fruit tree can be up to 12 feet tall, so don't think these are necessarily very low trees. Nestled between all the small trees are the shrubs, which are well represented by currants and berries. Filling the remaining space are the herbaceous layer. These are the culinary and medicinal herbs, companion plants, bee forage plants and poultry forage plants. Any remaining space is occupied by ground cover plants. These form a living mulch that protects the soil, reduces water loss to evaporation, and prevents weeds growing. We can still go a level deeper to the rhizosphere, or root zone, the underground level which is occupied by all our root crops, such as potatoes, carrots, ginger, yukon, etc. While that might seem like a lot of plants in one space, we still have one more to fill, the upright vertical space. This is filled by climbers and vines, which can be run up trellises, arbors, fences, trees or any other vertical support. This category includes grapes, climbing beans, many berries, passionfruit, kiwi fruit, climbing peas, chocos and many other species that love to climb. Real forests don't need any work, they self-maintain, no pesticides, herbicides, weeding, crop rotation, mowing or digging. Food forests don't need any of this either. Less work, more food, all natural. Why would you do anything else? In conclusion, if we look beyond our modernized culture to nature's most advanced and life-abundant plant-growing systems, it is clearly evident that working with nature is the wisest and most productive path to sustainable food production. We will be uploading weekly updates on our progress throughout the year. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe to our channel.